Valentine's Day facts. Did you know in 2020, the US spent $27.4 billion on Valentine's Day gifts? Billion with a B. That's higher than the GDP of Iceland. Yeah. Are you the kind of person that got showered Valentine's cards when you were younger and even now cards you receive? Yeah, you can blame her. This is Esther Howland. In the 1840s, she's the one who started mass producing Valentine's Day cards. You can thank her and Hallmark. On that with cards, Americans send 145 million cards each year. That's a lot. Also, the most common gift on Valentine's Day is jewelry. You know, I can actually tell you that in 2020, $5.8 billion were spent on jewelry for Valentine's Day. Yeah. Also, it's weird to think about, but people spend money on their pets on Valentine's Day gifts. Yeah. According to this, in 2020, people spent $751 million on Valentine's Day gifts for their pets. Okay. So all in all, what I'm getting from this is that people spend a lot of money on Valentine's Day, but I don't have a lot of money. Yeah. So what are we gonna do about it? It's a chilly day here in Ohio, but fortunately making this poor man's tiramisu will keep me in the nice warm kitchen. First thing we'll need to do is make some strong coffee. I'm using Nescafe and it will need at least 2 servings. I'm personally making 16 ounces. Once your coffee is made, place it in the fridge to cool completely. I actually poured some of it into a shallow tray so it would cool faster. Next we will make the cheesecake pudding. Pour 1.5 cups of milk and add in your mix. Stir with a whisk to break up all the clumps and then place it in the fridge to set. Pour your whipping cream into a large bowl and whip until it's thickened, nearly doubling in size. Add half of your set pudding into the whipped cream and whip again until it's all incorporated. And then repeat, adding the rest of your pudding into the mixture and mix it until it's completely combined. Place the mixture into the fridge to set. You now have everything you need to assemble your tiramisu. Now, normally this recipe makes a 9x9 tiramisu, but I want to try a couple of other presentations since it is Valentine's Day. So I'm going to use a loaf pan for half the recipe, but then I'm going to make one in a crystal goblet and I want to try and make some chocolate bowls, you know, for the fun of it. So to make my chocolate bowl, I pop some chocolate in the microwave to melt and take a glass water bottle I have and put plastic wrap on it to keep the chocolate from sticking to the sides. I also did it with a small jar so we could see if that would work better. I then tried dipping the small jar into the chocolate and I didn't account for the force of suction not allowing the jar to come back out. I eventually got it out. And then the plastic wrap came off of the jar and it no longer resembled a bowl. So my second dip, I put a rubber band on the plastic wrap to keep it from coming off. I dipped it and it worked better, but it still looked terrible. So I tried to spoon some chocolate over it. It didn't help. I set it aside to set. Neither of my bowls turned out, so I tried a little chocolate art to redeem myself. And art is subjective, so you cannot say that it's not good technically. Okay, let's put that behind us for now. We can finally start assembling our poor man's tiramisu. For the loaf pan, I'm actually using ladyfinger cookies, which are more traditionally used in a tiramisu, and that's because I found a great sale on them, but normally I would use vanilla wafers. Dip your cookies into the cold coffee, but not for too long. You do not want your cookies to completely soak through. Just enough for the coffee to start to be absorbed. Let the excess drip off, and then place it in the bottom of your pan. Now repeat until you have a single layer of coffee-soaked cookies. Take your pudding mixture and spread a layer on top of the coffee-soaked cookies. I did about 1 inch thickness, but you can make it as thick as you like. Smooth out the top of the pudding mixture and then add another layer of your coffee-soaked cookies. And then finally, add another layer of your pudding mixture to the top. Then sprinkle the top with cocoa powder. Then sprinkle the top with cocoa powder, or in my case, I used a hot chocolate mix because I didn't have any cocoa. This will add the final layer of flavor and it will make it look fancy. And because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to take my peeler and peel some white chocolate shavings on top because I'm fancy like that. Take your poor man's tiramisu and put it in the fridge to set. Now let's repeat that process, but in our crystal goblet. I did decide to use my vanilla wafers for this one. And to make it a little neater, I created a piping bag from a sandwich bag and piped my pudding mix in. Repeat the process, and repeat the process again, and you have an elegant individual serving of poor man's tiramisu. Oh, and check out this custom chocolate artwork. I made it myself. This is where I want to end the video, but I felt you all deserved to see the catastrophe that is the outcome of the chocolate bowl experiment. So my chocolate had set and I gently tried loosening it from the glass, but it would not come off. I then had the bright idea to pour hot water in the bottle to loosen the chocolate. I pulled again and it came off in multiple pieces. I was ready to get up, but then I realized I still had one more chance. Sure, it looks like a bad piece of modern art, but it could hold tiramisu, then I called a win. Miraculously, the jar came right out. But then I tried to remove the plastic wrap and, well, failure. So here the other two ended up looking like. Not bad, right? Also, so much more affordable. Tallying up all the ingredients used to make the poor man's tiramisu and doing the same for a traditional tiramisu, we see that a poor man's version is less than half the cost of the traditional. Now that is fantastic, but the final question is, does it taste good?
That's good.
I love you.
I love you.
Well, she seems to think so, and honestly, that's all I really care about. Well, that's all for me. Have a great Valentine's Day, everyone.